What's up, you guys? Welcome to the January 29th edition of NBA 3-Ball, presented by Established The Run. I'm your host, Mike Gallagher, getting ready to talk a very small Thursday slate, so we'll get to do a lot of news and preview for a big Friday slate in 10 minutes. Hit the thumbs up for us, please, and I hope you're subscribing. Let's talk Utah first, with Donovan Mitchell getting a questionable tag after missing the last game for a concussion. That's a really good sign that he won't be out for a while. Still, probably a decent chance he misses this one after Rudy Gobert went nuclear in the last game, and Quinn Snyder basically hinted that they're going to run Rudy pick and roll with Conley and Clarkson all freaking game, and that's exactly what they did. So we'll see if they run KP at the 5 again. He played straight 5, as I mentioned previously. Dial it up again if you want to go with Gobert again, and also Derek Favors too, if he's questionable. So we saw Gobert's minutes get up to 37, played 34 minutes or more 50 times last year because Favors wasn't there. So they really trust Favors in that backup role. So Gobert could be looking at a big volume again. Larry Nance gets the questionable tag today after missing the last couple games. Didn't go through shoot around on Wednesday, so that would lead me to believe he's not going to play today. And I should also mention, I found out today that Darius Garland couldn't lift his arm with his shoulder injury. And this is, don't forget, the first day he was questionable to play, they didn't say a thing. You know, they were like, oh yeah, we'll let you know soon. They didn't say it until after the fact. So I'd be really surprised if Nance plays today or even, the next couple games. He's been active on social media for a litany of reasons, called out Robin Hood today. It was pretty funny. So yeah, we'll see probably another small ball lineup with Jetty Osman. They may go back to the double big lineup. They didn't do it in the last game against the Pistons without Blake, so they may be more inclined to do it today. But yeah, obviously more usage and more playing time for Jetty Osman and Isaac Okoro as well. OG Anunoby drawing another questionable tag for that calf injury. Probably going to be game time. We shall see. Strangely enough, really not much Stanley Johnson until late in the game. I was surprised he did play key minutes late, so I think he'll play a little bit more in this one if OG can't go. And yeah, they played a lot of Aaron Baines. They went heavy dribble handoff with Aaron Baines in the last matchup, which cut into Boucher, whose offense has finally cooled off. So Boucher, even without OG and or Siakam, his minutes have been really down, even Lowry too. So expect a lot of Kyle Lowry. They try to get the offense more geared to him too, so I think Lowry could have a pretty good game, even if OG plays, regardless. The Wizards are going to get guys back here. They, as Scott Brooks mentioned today at practice, that guys were kind of going through workouts. He said that players were going with the training staff to simulate a 25 to 30-minute workload. So we're going to get Rui Hachimura back, Davis Bertans back, and Mo Wagner back. So Davis Bertans, don't forget, it took him over a month to get to what he felt was 100% conditioning-wise. So to fall off and have to recondition himself, you'd have to assume he's going to have a tough time hitting 24 minutes. At least I would. And then also Rui Hachimura as well. He may, probably be a better bet for minutes. And then Mo Wagner is very far from a lock. Alex Len, they like his rim protection, they like his size, his spacing. So that's going to be really tough to forecast. Robin Lopez has been pretty solid overall. But obviously Rui and Bertans will take Anthony Gill out. Probably Jordan Bell will probably drop out of the rotation after some pretty solid minutes against Zion. Isaac Bonga also lose a lot of playing time. Even Jerome Robinson, as these guys have to play up in size here too. No George Hill again for that thumb injury. He was going through shoot around in Phoenix. This is a little bit of a surprise to get him ruled out. Theo Maledon almost certainly going to start. Mark Dagnall talked him up after the last game, said the first start that Theo Maledon, they didn't feel comfortable with him closing because he wasn't really in a rhythm yet, but he did close in the second game, so I would expect his minutes to be upper 20s, maybe even 30 if he's playing really well, and a good game against Brooklyn. They're going to need him to really play well in this one. By the way, they closed with Kenny Kenrich Williams over him in the first game, if you're wondering. And then also, Lou Dort Harden Day, baby! Last season and in the postseason, Harden was only 19 of 16 against Lou Dort last year, 28.4%. So that'll be really fun. KD had a pretty good game against OKC in the last one. SGA also drive machine, man. 28 drives per game over his last 7. Nets have been pretty vulnerable against drivers, and SGA, he had a really good game against them. The Thunder drove it 70 times against the Nets, so SGA is going to be really busy in a game that should be pretty high scoring, hopefully close too. Let's transition to basketball stuff here with the Blazers, who dropped another one to the Rockets. Big news here is Derrick Jones Jr. had a foot sprain, X-rays negative. That's good, man. He is having a tough time staying on the court right now. Had that double quad bruise in the last game. So that really opened up Gary Trent Jr., who was kind of making a case for a minute anyways. Rodney Hood still on a minutes cap. No surprise he's only at 20. Anthony Simons surprisingly got the last shot. Also had a big shot earlier in the fourth quarter. He's starting to be trusted. Don't forget, a couple years ago, they said, I believe it was Neil O'Shea, said that he was the most talented player they drafted, and they drafted Dame, CJ, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, I think Simons now has to play more, and he can handle the ball a little bit. Again, he's shooting more threes. They're more comfortable with his offense. So, yeah, I think assuming Trent's already picked up and Melo, I think Simons is a pickup here as we wait for Derrick Jones Jr. news. And then also, and it's Cantor, man. He has been phenomenal as a defender, honestly. Maybe not phenomenal, but by his standards, he has been. So, shout out to him going from, chopping down burgers and getting sick to being sick in fantasy. To the Rockets, Christian Wood, big return, 32 minutes, looked phenomenal, no hesitation, just super aggressive, got to the basket. He did everything you wanted him to do. They are calling it the wow factor with Christian Wood, Victor Oladipo, and John Wall. So that's funny. Steven Silas was cracking up when he asked about that today. John Wall, man, I'm sorry. I thought his minutes were going to be cut. He had a 20-minute limit against the Wizards, and he negotiated 5 more minutes. So for him to get up to 30, just a tick under 30, I was stunned by that. So he was actually, if you watch the game, he was like, when there was about 7-8 minutes left in the fourth, he was literally following Silas around to put him back in the game. So yeah, Wall definitely wants to play more. He still has some restrictions on him, but big jump going from a 20-minute limit to what looks like a 30-minute limit here too. So looked pretty good overall. He's moving well. Jumper's still not quite there, but that's fine. But yeah, he's all right. And then we've got a lot of drops from this situation here. DeMarcus Cousins not only didn't play next to Christian Wood, he didn't get all the backup center minutes either as the Rockets went small at times. Yikes. So pure stash right now, as great as he is per minute. Jason Tate lost playing time. He's a drop now. And then David Nwaba, as we've been saying, he's been kind of eating based off these guys getting minutes limits. So he's a drop too. So all these guys, Daniel House getting more playing time as well. Eric Gordon playing a lot. It's kind of narrowing down. So after your Christian Woods, Walls, Depots, maybe Gordon if your league's not too deep, it's going to be pretty risky unless you're playing PJ Tucker in a deep league too. To the Lakers, big yikes. Dropped one to the Pistons and a road back-to-back. Obviously no Anthony Davis to get a little bit more run for Kyle Kuzma, who's pretty good, 22 and 10. Very little Marcus Morris. Saw more Taylor Horton Tucker as expected here. But, man, the fourth quarter was just a disaster. In the first 10 minutes of the fourth, they only scored 9 points, and then Vogel pulled the plug there and put the white flag garbage time unit in. So, it's chalk it up to a bad game. Montrezl Harrell's not playing well again. Marcus Saul's been kind of useless. Didn't even play that great against Embiid. Is probably one of his best characteristics. LeBron played pretty well for the most part. Was really quiet late. I believe he started out 7-7 and then went 1-12 after that. So he said he wasn't tired after the game, but obviously that's just what a tough loss against a bad Pistons team. Derrick Rose does play in the back-to-back set here. Gets 20 minutes, looks pretty good. But Blake Griffin, got to say, it was probably his best game of the year. He was pretty aggressive, made great passes, wasn't shy about shooting, either off the dribble or catch and shoot. Awesome game from him. I'm not buying. He's been bad all year. DeLon Wright, as expected, kind of cooled off, which, again, he's making steals. He's getting assists. That's fine. You can't expect him to score 20 points per game. Plumlee still had a pretty good game, too, after his big game against the Cavs. So he's off to kind of a pretty good start here. Miami does get Tyler Herro back. Looked okay. Didn't quite have a shot, but he was active out there, made a lot of plays as a playmaker. So certainly look him to look good. He had the kinesio tape on his neck. Bam had a rough one. And yeah, this team just needs to get healthy. Jimmy Butler was 2 days behind. Harkless in the protocol, so you gotta assume he's back, and they need him, man. The Heat gotta start winning some games here. Reggie Jackson continues to be the man. Heavy ball handling responsibility. Gets a pretty good matchup against the drop coverage Magic in a back-to-back, so he should be pretty good. Lou Williams, much better game. Watch his minutes today on a back-to-back also. Luke Kennard should get some pretty good looks here as well. Terrence Mann, real active, not the greatest stat line. And Serge Ibaka gets a tough matchup against Vooch today as well. The last game of the night was pretty lame as the Warriors didn't have it. Hey, they played the Wolves and they actually played a decent team in the Suns and they couldn't get anything going. Kelly Oubre, man, worst wide open shooter in the league right now, just continues to struggle with his jumper. They just had Curry going, and that's it. Suns did not have Devin Booker, and still not sprinting yet. So I assume he's going to miss more time, 2, 3, 4, maybe more. We'll see. Hopefully not 4. But yeah, big surprise here was no Javon Carter until garbage time. That was a surprise. We saw each one more shipped to the backup point guard spot, and then Langston Galloway kind of mixing in as a point guard slash wing to fill rotation minutes as well. That was kind of surprising. Mikal Bridges bounced back after a rough one. And Frank Kaminsky almost had a triple double. They were hunting triple double assists for him late. He played awesome today, so certainly don't really buy too much of that. That's going to do it. Check you guys out next time.